Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Moyer. I'm one of the sales support trainers here at Briggs and Stratton Energy Solutions. Today, we're really excited to be joined with Ecopro Solar Supply. With me today is Bo. Hi, Bo.
Good morning. Hello. How's it going?
So what we're going to do today is talk a little bit about Ecopro Solar, how you can work with them, how you can be involved with them, and how they can support you. We're then going to talk a little bit about the Briggs and Stratton products and how we as a manufacturer can help support not only the distributor like Ecopro Solar, but also you as the installer as well. So let's jump into it. Bo, I was reading up a little bit on your company. I was really excited to, read about how you guys, not only have great pricing, but also what I really hit upon was, you set yourselves apart by doing more before, during, and after the sale. A lot of distributors I know, really, they only care about during the sale part. Can you talk a little bit about how you support people before, during, and after the sale?
Sure. Ecopro is a stocking wholesale distributor. We carry everything, all materials, equipment for solar panels, racking, inverters, batteries, generators. We've been doing it for 15 years, so we have a little experience in it. We have 5 locations: Manny in Tampa, myself, Bo Dingler, and Russell Prejeant here in New Orleans, Kevin Lisi in Houston, Dave Waters in Dallas, and Louis Lemon in San Antonio. We have our own employees and trucks in each location, so we can get products out to you that day, or if it's a larger order, maybe it takes a day or 24 hours to pull the order. But point is, we have our own trucks and our own employees, so you're not dealing with a third-party company. If you need returns or an order fixed, we're there. We can bring it back out to you. So after the sale, if something goes wrong, we can take care of you with our own employees. We don't have to go through another company.
Yeah, that's really crucial, Bo. And also I read a little bit about your tech support, right? You're able to help people directly without, like you said, using a third party.
Right. And so we have a little bit of experience with each product. We know a little bit about all the products, but if we can answer it, we can get you to the experts with all the manufacturers. We have great relationships with all the manufacturers, so we can get the answer for you. Having been in the business for 15 years, we can find most products you need and get most technical questions answered on the products you need.
Yeah, absolutely. So ecoprosolar.com is the website. 877-841-2345 is your phone number, and then sales at Ecopro Solar as well. Little housekeeping items before we go any further. Anybody on this call, the chat has been disabled, but the Q&A is open. So go ahead and put your questions, your comments, whatever may be on your mind, and we'll go ahead and address those as we go along today. Additionally, I'll be sending this slide deck and this recording over to Bo, and so he can distribute this to anybody who wants to take a look at it. We'll also be recording this as well. So Briggs and Stratton is a pretty old company. It's actually a 115-year-old company. We're mainly known for lawnmower engines and small engines, but batteries in a lot of ways are not new to us. On the far left there, you see one of our hybrid cars that we came out in the 70s. And Bo, I don't know if you can notice, but on the back of that car, it's a little hard to see. There's actually a third axle that supports the weight of the lead acid batteries that were being used in this car. And it's just so incredible for us to see that we've now gone to be able to support these these lithium iron phosphate batteries and lithium cobalt based chemistry as well, that we can get such dense energy packages as well. So it's really exciting to see how we've progressed as the years have gone along. Briggs and Stratton has continued to be innovative, and now we're able to come out with our flagship battery, the SimpliPHI 6.6 stacking battery, which is what we're going to focus on a little bit today. Just joining is Rodolfo Garza. Welcome, Rodolfo.
Okay, let me unmute. Hey, hello, sorry I was late. I was just having some trouble with my Zoom, but yeah, I'm happy to be here and join you guys. Thank you, Daniel.
Of course, yeah, and just a reminder, we are recording this, so anybody's watching this in the future, please keep in mind that we're here to help. Rodolfo, Bo, and myself, reach out to us, let us know, and we're going to have all of our contact information pop up again here later. As I mentioned earlier, the SimpliPHI 6.6 is one of our newest batteries. It's really, in a lot of ways, not that new. We have thousands of these batteries distributed out now. We can have also Energy Track. Energy Track is an optional gateway, monitoring gateway that can look at a little bit more granular detail of the batteries. That is not necessarily going to be installed on every install. You can use it kind of as a service tool. You can think of it like that. A lot of this hybrid inverters that we partner with, we like SolArc, and we're going to talk a lot about SolArc today in this talk, have their own monitoring platform. So the homeowner is able to look at some of the details through the SolArc app. But of course, Energy Track is always there to help you out. We do sell some of the other batteries. We call them the PHI and the SimpliPHI batteries. These are 3.8 kilowatt hour batteries. Unlike the 6.6, they are not outdoor rated, but these are great for traditional lead acid battery replacements. The PHI comes in 24 volts, which is really unique in the lithium ion industry, that we can still support a 24 volt systems. SimpliPHI is also a key battery. It's 48 volt only, and that does also come with closed loop communications. What does that mean? That means that the inverter and the battery communicate through CAN bus, and they can talk to each other and give certain state of charge set points, the temperature set points as well. The PHI battery that I just mentioned previously does not have closed loop comms. So in that case, if you got like an old system, maybe with an old Xantrax or an old Trace, or maybe an old Outback system that can't leverage closed loop communications, go ahead and use that battery because you're not needing that battery management system with the closed loop comms. Additionally, we do have high voltage batteries, unlike the 6.6 and the 3.8s that are all designed to be run in parallel. The high voltage batteries, the 4.3, are designed to be run in series, and we can build up those voltages to run some of those larger inverters, high voltage inverters, like a SolArc 30K or a SolArc 60K as well. We absolutely do still sell a lot of generators. We have a line of air-cooled residential generators, as well as liquid-cooled commercial generators, as well as transfer switches as well. Again, we're going to hit upon this a little bit, and then we're going to get into the products, but Briggs & Stratton has really been known for its manufacturing. We are a very old, century-old company, and we have the resources not only on the engineering side, the IT side, the tech support side, to help you be successful. There's a lot of companies out there, I would say, that are manufacturing batteries. And Bo, I would also argue there's a lot of companies out there distributing batteries. But what sets us apart is how we can support you as the customer, whether it's like we had talked about before, during, and after the sale, to make this a very smooth process and build that relationship. So in a lot of ways, Briggs & Stratton, Ecopro Solar are very similar in their support for you as the customer as well. We do have US-based manufacturing. Oxnard is where we build some of the residential batteries. We're also out in Milwaukee and in Tucker, Georgia. We also develop batteries for our hot swappable lawn equipment. Think of like zero-turn mowers and the like. If you want to learn more, and I always encourage people to learn more, Briggs & Stratton has what's known as the Power Academy. This is our online learning platform. You can either do self-paced courses, you can attend virtual live instructor-led courses, and we also have videos as well that you can watch on the Power Academy. If anybody here is interested in that, reach out to Bo, reach out to myself, and we'll get you set up on this so you can continue learning as well. So, Bo, this is one of our training walls that my boss, Nathan, and I built. What we're looking at here on the left-hand side is our SimpliPHI 6.6 stacking battery. Each one of those battery modules is 6.6 kilowatt hours. You can stack up to 3 in one stack, which brings you just under 20 kilowatt hours. And that's intentional. There's a lot of fire and building codes related to these energy storage systems, mainly referenced in the standard NFPA 55. What we really need to do based on these standards is come in just under the 20 kilowatt hour threshold. And that's why it's intentional. And you'll see other battery manufacturers that do that as well. What we see in the middle is a SolArc 15K. I would say that the advent of that SolArc 15K, SolArc being one of the first manufacturers to come to market with a hybrid inverter, that means you got all the parts and pieces in one box: the charge controllers, the inverter, the charger, the rapid shutdown, PV disconnects, the automatic generator 2-wire signal to start is all in one box. What we like to see usually, and I've seen people do this a little differently, is you put a wiring gutter or a wire weight underneath the Solarc, and then you stub up into that Solarc as well. Solarc 15K being the 200 amp pass-through, what we have is your meter, a main disconnect. There's no loads in this panel here. We bring all 200 amps right into the Solarc, and then 200 amps right back out of the Solarc to back up the entire home. So it's really key to be able to do a whole home backup. A lot of people who traditionally have generators think of the whole home transfer switches. That's in a lot of ways what they're expecting. Now, with the advent of powerful, low-cost batteries that are still high-quality batteries, like our Briggs & Stratton 6.6, and these hybrid inverters that are more powerful, we can now offer whole home backup to customers without the need of a generator. And you might be thinking, well, I got somebody in Bo, I'm out here on the Pacific coast next to the ocean, so we don't really have a lot of air conditioners. You got a lot of homeowners with air conditioners. Is that right, Bo?
Oh yeah, you wouldn't survive here without them.
So we always get that, can these systems support air conditioners? I would say this, they can. You do have to have some considerations. If you do have a house with 3-4 ton air conditioners, you're going to drain your batteries pretty quick. But during the day, once the sun is up, and if you have solar and the batteries are full and the sun's still producing and all the other loads are satisfied, go ahead and turn on those air conditioners, because if that solar power doesn't have anywhere to go, you're wasting it. I would say that a lot of these newer air conditioners have inverter-driven compressors. Also, you can add a soft start to a lot of these compressors, which allow them to start up. You can also zone people, right? Bo, maybe you've heard of this, where you can put in a mini split or a smaller air condition, kind of a refuge room, where people can still have that cooling. But it is possible to run air conditioners on these energy storage systems. Of course, you might need to add a couple more batteries, give a little bit more fuel in the tank. Solarc, they still have a screen. That's what you're seeing on the right-hand side. And of course, they do come with an app as well. One resource for all you installers out there is our 6.6 resources page. I'll provide a few of these links. What this has is not only the battery manuals, right? Please don't use our battery instructions or any instructions from any manufacturers as a knee pad, but please read them. We also have what's known as the integration guide. This is a great document for your first install. It walks you through kind of as a story almost on how you would go about installing this. So please download these, and I'll go ahead and pass those along to Bo to distribute out as well. One thing really another last thing on Briggs & Stratton is that it's a well-known brand. People know of the Briggs & Stratton mainly through those lawnmowers, but people that recognize the brand are more likely to buy. So you as the installers, you come to the table with the Briggs & Stratton brand, they've recognized it, they know it, and they can trust it. Not only just being that old brand, but again, as I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of resources that Briggs & Stratton can bring. Everybody has a warranty on their battery, right? We do too, 10-year warranty, unlimited cycles, 100% depth of discharge with no throughput clause. You know that we're going to be around 10 years from now to honor that warranty. As we talked about a little bit earlier, there is the partnership with Solarc, but there are other hybrid inverters on the market that we're now partnering with, such as Solis, Mega Revo. Rodolfo, what are a couple things that you like about working with Solarc?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things about Solarc. It's a US-based company. They got a great technical support. They got a great team. So we've been working with Solarc pretty much since the beginning that they came to the market. We've been one of the main battery partners. And the people from Solarc, they know our battery. So if you have questions and you want troubleshooting, you can call our team, and our team really knows Solarc really well, and they can help you to troubleshoot the Solarc, and vice versa. If you call the Solarc team, they know our battery, and they can help you do the commissioning and the setting. They have a big presence, as I said, great training team, great sales technical team. They have a very robust product, It's been in the market for many, many years, and I mean they have a great quality. The product is really robust and it works. I mean, we know the 15K, they were the first one with the 200 amp pass through.
Yep.
They kind of make that like kind of like an industry norm, and everybody's kind of doing that now. And yeah, this is a great feature that avoid you to have like a saw panel or transfer switch. That 200 amp pass through is a great feature they implemented.
Absolutely. And I would also argue that Ecopro Solar, well, can be that one-stop shop for that tech support as well. Thank you, Rodolfo. So let's just set the stage and back up a little bit. What is an energy storage system? In a lot of ways, an energy storage system not only provides backup for a home, but it can also do other things. It's not just like a generator that sits there waiting for an outage. It can also bring in solar, and that's great. In a lot of states, and Bo, maybe you can speak to this here in a minute, there's a lot of states in the Gulf Coast that no longer offer net metering, right? The idea that you have just solar on the roof, that you feed back to the grid and you build up those credits. Now, in order to see a financial return on a lot of these solar systems, you have to store the solar energy that's being produced during the day in batteries and then discharge the battery to home loads at night. So in the middle here, we have our inverter, the solar. Down below, we have our battery. You could think of that kind of as the fuel tank. And then up here, we have the home electrical loads. Of course, we can bring in solar and use the charge controllers in the inverter and charge up the battery. And that sets us a little bit apart. We're what's known as a DC coupled system, where there's a lot of battery companies out there that have a battery, but each battery stack has its own inverter charger built into it. So you basically take the DC from the solar panels, you turn it into AC, and then you send the AC into the battery, which gets turned back into DC. And then when you need to use it, right, you use well, it's a battery charger, you use that DC, turn it into AC, and then power the home loads. With the charge controllers, DC coupled, we're able to take that solar DC, feed it directly into the battery as DC, avoiding the inverter losses. Also, we're able to avoid some inverter clipping as well. So it's more efficient to do it this way. It also allows us to scale energy and power separately. What I mean by that is that if the inverter, charger, and battery are integral, then in order to increase storage capacity, you have to add more batteries that have that inverter charger. So you're having to scale them up together. What we can do is if you need more energy, as in storage or backup time, you just add more batteries. If you need more power, you just add more inverters like that solar. Of course, we can also bring in generators. And I would argue, Bo, that in places that do have large air conditioning loads, generators still may play a role. What we can do is the battery starts to run low. The inverter recognizes that the state of charge of the battery is starting to run low. We start up that generator. We run the generator hard. We run it near its max load at its most fuel efficient run point. We charge up that battery quickly, and then we shut the generator off and we coast on the batteries. And like I mentioned earlier, absolutely you can run air conditioners off these solar systems and then rinse and repeat if the solar is not able to keep up. Now, Bo, over here, I'm showing this bidirectional arrow here where energy is flowing from the grid into the inverter, but then I'm showing that arrow going the other way. Bo, can you talk a little bit about the state of net metering in the Gulf Coast and how you see that maybe going forward, evolving?
It's always under threat. The utilities don't want to pay retail rate for the electricity you put back onto the grid. So batteries are the perfect workaround. You don't have to use the grid as your battery. You have your own batteries. You don't have to use the grid at all. I mean, you do just for connection, but you can put your energy on your batteries and don't have to worry about the net metering rate. Like in Louisiana, it's down to avoided cost, which is 2 pennies, 3 pennies instead of the 14 cents that you would pay or get. So it's a way to get around that. And you also have of course, the backup power there in an emergency. So.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bo. Also, another opportunity too is, this is mainly on small commercial, and Bo, maybe you could speak to this or let me know if I get this wrong, that peak pricing. So usually on commercial, if you exceed a certain kilowatt threshold, light commercial, small industrial will get charged peak pricing. What we can do is tell the solar that if the homes or business loads exceeds a certain threshold, go ahead and start discharging batteries to bring down that peak. So it's really crucial that these systems not only provide backup, but can also make going solar financially viable without having that net metering possible. Talked about this a little bit already. Whole home backup, I think it is in a lot of ways what we're moving to, but there still is an opportunity for partial home backup. That's where we leave some of the loads on the building in the main panel and we don't bring everything over to the load panel. That may be something you want to do. The idea, though, that the solar 12K, which is on the left, actually isn't that much less expensive than the solar 15K, which is what you see on the right. So we see a lot of installers just paying a little bit extra, having the homeowners pay a little bit extra. That brings them that whole home backup as well. So we talked about this already, but I want us to hit upon it, right? What can these energy storage systems do? Really, the prime is being able to keep the power on when you have outages. Now, I know, Bo, and you guys have sometimes very prolonged outages with your hurricane seasons. So being able to off-grid the home is possible with the combination of that solar plus a generator. We do have other trainings where we talk about the entire hour about bringing generators into these systems. And yes, you can use a portable generator as well. And we run those generators at their most fuel efficient run point, charge up the batteries quickly, and then shut them off. Our 18, 22, and 26K generators have what's known as non-emergency use certification. That means as long as they're paired up with another energy source, like an energy storage system, you're absolutely able to use them in complete off-grid systems as well. One quick thing I think a lot of installers start to like is how quick the install goes on these things. On the top right picture, you see a couple of our installers stacking our batteries. There's a wall bracket that goes on the wall. And then what we do is each one of these batteries is 130 pounds. You stack them up. Not only does the power stack, but also the communication stack. They are outdoor rated and indoor rated. Now, we get this a lot, Bo, you know, we sell these batteries all around the country. And one thing that always affects lithium ion batteries, whether they're LFP or other chemistries, that cold weather affects these batteries during the charge cycle. We've done a couple of things where we can optimize the electrolyte in the battery so that they can operate down to 14 degrees Fahrenheit. But Bo, does it ever get down to 14 degrees Fahrenheit on the Gulf Coast?
I don't think so. I've never seen that.
Okay, so if anybody's has seen this, go ahead and please put it in the Q&A. Another thing is that these batteries, I would be more worried about heat, right? So the batteries actually can go up to 130 degrees ambient temperature. That being said, I would, suggest maybe having them not necessarily on the south face of the building. They are painted white, which does have less albedo, and so it doesn't get as hot as, say, a black battery would. But these batteries definitely can be used outdoors. I would say this, that this is more of a marketing photo where you can see this three, I would say maybe, Bo, what do you think? That's a 3/4 inch conduit there. You're going to want to run 2-inch conduit. And as being an American battery manufacturer, we've done things that really engineered and designed this battery for the North American battery installer market. For, like I just mentioned, we have that 2-inch knockout. The bracket that goes behind the battery has spacing for 16 or 24-inch on center wood studs. So it really makes it an easy install, a quick install for you to be able to put that. I'll back up a little bit, but it's either going to be a floor base or a wall base mounting option. So that's one of the SKUs you're going to have to look for when you're going to Ecopro Solar, that you're going to have a base, a battery module up to 3, and then a controller up top. And of course, you're going to have that inverter, and then additionally that optional energy track as well. We still do have a battery status LED indicator on the front of the battery. It tells the homeowner kind of how much fuel is left in the tank. It's not quite like going out to the old Solar Shack and looking at your Trimetrics battery meter or one of those older battery monitors, but it still is there. as I mentioned, we do have the ability to stack not only power, but also communications between the batteries. We all know the equipment costs a lot for these homeowners, but also labor. In fact, labor can almost be half the price for some of these installs. So having a quick install, getting in and out is really key. Rodolfo, did you have a comment?
Yeah, there's a question from Luis. He's asking, are the batteries only compatible with certain systems? So I guess the question is different inverters. And as Daniel was explaining earlier, we do a lot of installs with solar, but we are compatible with multiple systems. As Daniel explained earlier, we have integration with Solis, Megarivo, Growatt, and we're adding more inverters to make this an agnostic battery. So you can use pretty much any DC 48 volt inverter for you.
Absolutely. And I would argue, Rodolfo, that if you can get the bulk, the float, the absorb voltages, and the charge discharge rate, we've seen those 5 batteries of ours paired with every inverter charge controller company you can think of.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The batteries are held together with these alignment pins, and then they're held to the back of the battery. The back of the battery is held against the wall bracket. The battery weighs 130 pounds. The base is either a floor or wall base. And then up top, we have that controller. That's where you're going to have your home runs going down to the battery. A couple things I want to focus on here is our warranty. I mentioned already, it's a 10-year warranty, unlimited cycles, 100% depth of discharge with no throughput. A lot of our competitors will have a clause saying that you only get so many cycles. Even if it's not been 10 years, your warranty is up. At the end of that 10 years, we warranty 75% retained energy capacity. It's just like buying a solar module. You look at how much, right? The solar modules, the batteries age over time. They naturally lose their ability to produce or store power. So if you look at a solar module and look at what is the warranted power production at year 20 or year 25, the higher that is, the better battery it is. Given that, although we do offer unlimited cycles, I have some projected life cycle figures there. And notice, back in the old lead acid battery days, we were always focused on depth of discharge, right? Don't discharge the battery below a certain rate. And that's true. If 80% depth of discharge does still give you a lot more life on these lithium ion LFP batteries, but it's also the charge rate, or how fast you're charging or discharging the battery also affects the life. As you notice, at a 0.5 C, which is a C/2 discharge rate, that means you charge the battery up in 2 hours and you can discharge the battery in 2 hours. We're estimating about 6,000 cycles. 6,000 divided by 365 is about 16 years of life on these batteries as well. Talked already a little bit about the temperature ratings as well. Here's these wall brackets. Again, either a floor or a wall base. And then the brackets get held up against the wall. And I know you guys don't have earthquakes down there, but part of our UL 9540 listing, we did have to go through seismic testing. So these things are really held up against the walls really well. Batteries are held together with shoulder screws, and then the tab screws hold the batteries up against the wall. So we'll talk a little bit about some of our competitors here. We did talk, Enphase, obviously, Tesla, they're big players. How we kind of have some advantages over them, and I mentioned this earlier, we can do DC coupling. That being said, if you do have somebody that has an existing Enphase, or maybe an existing Solar Edge, or maybe an old SMA string inverter, we still can take that AC solar and bring it into the Solarc and offer AC coupling. So we can still do retrofits and offer them energy storage backup doing AC coupling. And even if we do that, we can still add additional DC solar on there to increase the production of their system. We're able to easily integrate generators and control them using that 2-wire signal to start, scale energy storage and power separately. The ability to also do off-grid is key. Not everybody offers warranties for off-grid, The Solarc, the 6.6 are warranted for off-grid, and our generators, as long as they're paired up with an energy storage system, do also come with a warranty for non-emergency use as well. I would also argue we're a lot easier to get a hold of, whether it's tech support, whether it's design or sizing. Reach out to me, reach out to Rodolfo, and also our shorter lead times as well. This is an example of us going out to a site with a couple of solar edge inverters. We're bringing those solar edge inverters. This right here is a combiner panel where we're combining up the outputs of that solar edge inverter, and we're bringing it into the Solarc onto the gen port. And as far as this Solarc is concerned, it's just more AC coming in. That AC can be used to support the home loads. That AC can be used to charge the batteries. And if it exceeds both of those, it can also be used to still send back out to the grid. That gen port's also key. It has the ability to be a smart load output. And this is key. If you're off grid, which I would say is a grid down situation, mentioned this earlier that the batteries are full, the solar's still producing, all the home loads are being satisfied. You can then turn on that smart load output once the batteries get above a certain state of charge when they're full, and turn on a load. Turn on maybe that extra AC that wasn't able to run earlier. Turn on that hot tub, or start charging an EV car, because once the solar is being fed to the batteries and batteries are full, once the home loads are satisfied, that the charge controllers are going to start to curtail that power. It's really nice to have that built in right into the Solarc as well. Here's a great example of some off-grid installs. This is out in Central California. Rodolfo, I wish that was my house here. But what we're looking at on the bottom left picture is 4 batteries with 2 Solarcs. It's key to note here that all of these batteries, DC output is being fed into this Midnight Solar combiner. What we want to do is bring all of the DC, combine it into a combiner panel, and then split that battery up, that battery bank up, to feed the Solarc separately. These 2 batteries are not feeding this Solarc. These 2 batteries are not feeding that Solarc. They're all being combined and then fed up into the Solarcs. Likewise with the AC, when you're paralleling up inverters and batteries, you need to combine them all together and then feed them equally up into the Solarcs. We can have some wiring diagrams, and that integration guide that I talked about gets a little bit deeper into those topics. Feel free to call us, call Bo. We'll get on the phone and we'll talk through some of these systems as well. A couple of examples of how we scaled power and energy separately. On the left, we got 2 Solarcs here. I really like how they painted the conduit there to match the home wall. I think that gives it a nice clean look there. On the right-hand side, we have 2 battery stacks that are feeding into that single Solarc. I also like up in the top right corner on that right-hand picture that there's a bypass. So if you ever need to service the equipment, or the equipment goes down for some reason, you can use that bypass and bypass that entire system and just run completely off of grid as well. Floor or wall mounted. It's key, and we spend a lot of time on this in some other talks, understanding some of the fire and building codes related to the energy storage systems. There's a certain amount of capacity in kilowatt hours you can install in a basement or a utility closet or a garage or on the outside of the wall. There's also requirements on parking bollards, and those parking bollards you see on the left-hand picture are these metal posts that would prevent a car from crashing into these batteries. These are required by code. There's also heat detectors, smoke detectors, drywall requirements in certain areas. So understanding those are key, and we can help you with that as well. On the right-hand side, you see the wall mount. Now, Rodolfo, I think we're going to be transitioning just to one. We're just going to be going with the wall mount. Is that right? That can be used either way?
Correct. Yeah, that's the idea, to simplify the setup, so the customers don't have to pick between a wall mount bracket or a base, floor base bracket. So it's going to be a single SKU, and they can decide outside if they want to put it on the floor or put on the wall with one single piece.
Now, Bo, are you seeing some of your installers having to put in parking bollards in some of your installs?
I have heard of one or two. Yep, and it's about a 50-50 mix between who wants the stand-up version and who wants the wall mount. I personally like the stand-up just because of the practicality that I can move it eventually, but the wall mount is definitely the sleekest option. Looks best.
Yeah. I would say that there has been a growing market for battery backup only. No solar. And as somebody who's been in this industry for a while, that always blew me away. Why would you do that? And I think of a lot of way as like that UPS below your computer. I know probably not down there in the Gulf Coast, but a lot of people, their outages are a lot less in duration than many people realize. It's somebody crashing into the telephone pole or the power pole down the road, and the utility is out there, your power is up in a couple of hours. So you can do just battery and no solar. Of course, you could still bring in a generator into that. And you can see in that left picture in the bottom kind of corner, that NEMA 3R twist lock where you can bring in a portable generator. Now, using a portable generator, it has to be a 240 volt. It has to be a, you're not going to get that automatic two-wire signal to start. So a homeowner is going to have to look at their app and realize that the batteries are starting to go low, manually roll out the portable generator, plug it in. That generator, the portable, is then going to charge up the batteries, support the home loads. And there's some programming that we're not going to go into for the sake of time in this talk, that you can program that solar as not to overload that portable generator. Now, Bo, a lot of people have portable generators down in your area for these hurricanes. Is that right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
And Bo, do you have any utilities that put people onto time of use rates?
I think rates, it's only commercial in Louisiana for time of use. Like you talking about peak demand.
Yeah, peak demand or during certain times of the day, electricity is more expensive, usually like 4 to 9 or 5 to
Right.
10 and stuff like that.
For commercial, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and so out here in California on the West Coast, people are being forced onto this. There's no option. And I kind of see that not only the net metering going away across the country, but also people being forced on these time of use because the utilities want to make more money in a lot of ways and reduce the demand on the grid during certain times as well. I would say if anybody's had to lift up one of those Franklin, they know how heavy they are. The Tesla Powerwall 3s, right? Those Enphase batteries, they're not light. You can see the picture on the right there. You were able to, I've seen Nathan, the guy in the black shirt there, lift one of these batteries by himself. Usually when you get to that third battery on top, you really want two people to be able to lift the battery, but we're only 130 pounds. We're not going to get too much into this, but I do want to just run through some of these packages here. I'm going to skip ahead to this one here. This is showing a Solar 12K. We talk about how we're bringing the battery power in. We kind of show how the communication wire runs. And then we're also talking about how the essential loads panel. I want to bring our attention up to the right-hand side. A lot of our homes' electrical services are 200 amp panels with a 200 amp bus. And if you're following the NEC 120% rule, what that tells us is that we can only put a 40 amp breaker in here that feeds, that's being backfed by the solar. What's unique to SolarArc and a lot of these other inverters, hybrid inverters that we partner with, is they have what's known as UL 1741 CRD PCS control. What that means is that now we can land a 60 amp breaker here, and we can draw 60 amps out of the main panel, 60 amps out of the inverter to pass through and feed our backed up loads panel. But we program the SolarArc so that it will never backfeed more than 40 amps. This is a great electrical, you know, computer design controls that'll prevent us from having to need to do a main panel upgrade, whether we derate the main breaker or whether we have to replace that panel with the solar ready panel. It's really unique and a really cool feature to be able to do this and save them money. What we're looking at here is the Solar 15K example with the battery stack on the left-hand side. Notice here also that we have a rapid shutdown button. So let's all try not to imagine this, but just picture this, that I guess those are the same things, that your house is on fire and the fire department shows up. What are they going to do first? They're going to kill power to your home. Usually how they do that is they just either pull the meter out of its socket or they just turn off the main breaker. But when you do that, when you have a home energy storage system, as far as the solar and our batteries are concerned, that's just another outage. And the inverter is going to then start using energy stored in the batteries to power the home loads. By code, we need to have a rapid shutdown button located near the main service and the main disconnect so that the firefighters hit that button. That then tells the solar that rapid shutdown has been initiated. It's going to stop sending any power in and out of itself. And then it can also transmit up to the solar panels and activate the rapid shutdown modules on the module level on the solar. So that's key. You want to make sure you install that. Rodolfo, what are we looking at here?
Okay, we have with a legacy product, we have fully integrated solutions that we still offer. This is an outdoor rated cabinet that includes a solar 12K inverter and up to 6 batteries for 22.8 kilowatt hour of storage. So this is an all-in-one solution for somebody that is looking for a system to put indoor, outdoor, and have, you know, like a whole package system. The only downside I would say is it is the solar 12K and not a 15K. So you're a little bit limited on the inverter size.
Yep, thank you. These are great, not necessarily for everyone down there on the Gulf Coast, but these can have heating options, which can allow us to operate down to very cold temperatures.
Yeah, and I'll just add on that solution, you can expand to it, so you can have multiple cabinets. And what you're showing right now, Daniel, the Boss, this is a battery-only cabinet. So you can have an access system and just add more batteries with this Boss cabinet that is just batteries by themselves.
Yeah, thank you, Rodolfo. And I see a lot of these is when you're not able to mount batteries on a wall or in a garage and you need something standalone. These are great because all you do is get a little concrete pad and you can set these right on top as well. And here's an example of what it can look like to scale up. Rodolfo just mentioned those Boss cabinets. You're seeing a bunch of them there in that middle picture. Those are all heated. And this is up in a little colder area of the Gulf Coast. And then you can also parallel up these inverters. And these are powering a light. I believe this is a data center here. And on the bottom right-hand picture, you can see a lot of our 5 batteries that we're scaling up to power large systems. Just like Ecopro Solar we can also help you commission systems. You can give us access to your sites, and then we can get in there and help you set up and configure systems, whether it's in the inverter software or whether it's in our own software, the Energy Track system. We do have an installer program. So these are manufacturer's rebates. So if you're doing a 6.6 install for the first time, you purchase that battery from Ecopro Solar, you go to our website, Briggs & Stratton website, upload the invoice, the paid invoice from Ecopro Solar, and we, as the manufacturer, will give you $1,000 off your first 6.6 install. Additionally, after that first install, you can join our installer program, and then we'll offer you $100 off every battery you install. Just simply upload that invoice from Ecopro Solar, and we'll go ahead and get you that rebate. So as we're closing out, I just want to thank Ecopro Solar. Thank you, Bo, for being here. Some of the closing thoughts here is the Briggs & Stratton 6.6 battery is really innovative. It's not only that stacking battery, and a lot of people have stacking batteries, but ours is unique in the way that it has that power and the communication that's stacked. There's nothing on the sides. The innovation too on the top controller is that there's no cable glands. It actually does have a 2-inch knockout. It's designed for conduit, which is what we're used to here in North America. Fast install, the ability to use apps. Our brand, is very powerful, and that can help close the sales for you. And with the Briggs & Stratton brand comes that Briggs & Stratton capabilities. We're a huge company, over a century old, a lot of engineering, tech support, training support as well. We're US based as well. And as Rodolfo mentioned, we're agnostic. So we can work with many other inverters as well. Of course, reach out to Bo and his team. We have sales support, business development managers here as well. There's Rodolfo's information down there at the bottom. We have other BDMs that can help support you. If you want the white glove support, let us know and we can reach out to you as well. So Bo, would you just close this out a little bit and mention how is Ecopro Solar poised to help support the installers?
Yeah, well, first I want to say there's 3 or 4 metrics that we use to arrive to the decision to carry and push the Briggs batteries as our flagship brand for anything that's a non-closed loop system. So anything that's not Enphase or Solar Edge that has like a closed loop that doesn't accept outside batteries. Briggs is our go-to battery solution for that, for anything that doesn't have a closed loop system. 3 or 4 things. At first, it had to have a good design, sleek and easy to install, and this has all of that. Right price, it has that, and then the brand name and the support behind the product are the other 2 that were big factors and will be after the sale. And so far, it's been excellent. So I just have to say thank you for all y'all's support and look forward to more going forward.
Yeah, thank you, Bo. Again, we're going to have this sent out to everybody as recording. The slide deck's available as well. Reach out to Ecopro Solar. Reach out to us. We'll be there for you. The email and address is there as well. Thank you, everyone, for their time. Rodolfo, are there any questions that came up? And if you have a question, please put that into the Q&A right now.
Yeah, no additional questions, but I also want to add, if anybody is planning to go to IRE Plus Texas, we're going to be exhibiting. I think Ecopro is also exhibiting, right, Bo? I think you guys are going to have a booth as well.
Yep, that's right. We'll be there.
Yeah, so if you guys are planning to be at the show, please come meet with us, talk to us. We can show you the product and talk more about it.
Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.